And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
So it's a fun little adventure inside someone's mind.
Oh man, I'm sorry I missed that.
For those of you without the benefit of video on this podcast, Michael was being sarcastic. If you happen to have your sarcasmometer on, it may have just exploded.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle? Season 8, Episode 25, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me I have a man who said, Twitter. Never have so many said so much that mattered so little to so few. It's Mike, the McDonough.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. Live from Vegas, we have a man who is not a father, but he says he's been called daddy a few times. It's Shaun, Isle of Cannes effort. And in the red corner, it's our cuddly killer, a man who reckons it won't be long till people realise that selfie sticks make great lightning conductors. It's Mark, superhero Leonard. This week we'll be discussing the movie Spy and some TV in the form of Ballers and The Whispers. We'll also have some news and some previews and come to a bicycle near you. So how you doing? How's it going?
Fantastic,
So a guy
Steve.
messages me that I haven't talked in about 3 years.
Straight into it. Brilliant.
And he goes, Can I talk to you about randomly and ask you a weird question? And I went, well, I never say no to something like that. I'm immediately interested. So this was a guy I trained with a few times many years ago when we were both neophyte mixed martial artists. And I got to know him reasonably well, but just, like I'm not really in the MMA game as much anymore. Don't really see him that much. But, he's one of these guys you can just jump right back in. And so he rings me anyway.
Yeah.
And he goes, I have a funny story for you, and I'm going to finish it with a question. So I go on. So he goes, I got a call off a guy who works with Zuffa. Not right. And what did they want with you? And he goes, well, I ran a show years ago, and Conor McGregor fought in it. And they want to use the footage from that show in a documentary they're putting together. Not right, very good. Are you getting paid? He goes, yeah. He said, they're going to give me decent money for it. I said, okay. So your man rings me, tells me the price, and can he have the rights to the footage? And my friend says, yeah, you can have the rights. Of course you can. Go ahead and show it. I don't mind. Like, I'm not even that pushed about being paid, but if you're going to pay me, so much the better. So that's fine. A couple of days later, the guy from Zoof rings him back, and it says, there's been a contention on your ownership of the footage. And he goes, oh, okay, who's contesting? And he mentioned the guy's name. And then I went, geez, I'd never heard of him. And he said, that's what I said to that guy. Mm-hmm. So he goes, but at the time he worked for a production company. He said the name of the production company. I went, oh yeah, I know him all right. And he goes, yeah, I knew him too. And then I remembered that particular night of the show, the guy that usually did it for me was sick. And he got a friend of his to do the recording. And that's who we're dealing with now.
Oh.
I went, right, okay. So anyway, I explained all this to your man from Zuffa and negotiated with him that the amount of money he was going to give me for using the footage, he was going to give to the other guy as well. So everybody wins. So I got in touch with the other guy by email, told him this, and we exchanged a couple of emails back and forth. And it seemed to be all going well. And then at the end, your man says to me, well, as far as I can work out, I have all the footage and you never got me to sign a waiver, so you can go and fuck yourself.
No way.
He said, I'm going to contact my solicitor and negotiate with Zuffa myself.
Wow.
So what a complete wanker.
Classy kind of guy.
My friend then kind of goes, look, the guy from Zuffa actually rang him back. By all accounts, he's a really sound fella to do it. He rang him back and he said, look, this is a bit sticky. I would like to see you get paid because, you're one of the good guys. But this is it's a bit awkward now.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about 10 seconds of footage here. Like,
yeah.
Because Conor never wasted time. Like,
yeah.
So that was fine anyway. And then he was thinking away on the topic. He was thinking away on what would he do. And he kind of thought to himself, if I put money into doing my job, I'll make the amount of money that Zuffa were going to give me. So I should just forget about this, put this down to just a bad experience with people who are trying to cash in on MMA, because there's plenty of them around nowadays, and move on. But then he remembered that back in my announcing days, which are like last year they finished, but they were happening back then in 2007.
Yeah.
He goes, didn't you used to say something about video recording? And I said, yeah, I heard the Fink from WWE one time at a show talk about not letting people do anything really with what was about to happen unless they had rights. So I worked it into my bit. And I used to say, video recording in this event is strictly prohibited unless you have the express written permission of, and then whoever the promotion company was.
Oh, beautiful.
He said, do you think you'd be able to find that written down somewhere? And I said, I've it written down about 100 times for every show I ever did. Because what I used to do is I'd write out the announce cards in a Word doc, mail it to myself, and then print it.
Yeah.
So as luck would have it, I'd done this. And I was happy with this for two reasons. Because first of all, it proved beyond a shadow of a doubt I had announced Conor McGregor when he was starting out, which I knew. I was pretty sure that I had done that anyway. Yeah. But now I actually had written proof, and possibly I might be able to help out a friend of mine. So that's my story. I now have what everyone in Irish MMA wants, is a story about them and Conor McGregor.
So very good. So he'll have loads of ammo so to go back to your man. That's brilliant.
Well, hopefully that'll get him.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's not about the money now. Now it's not just about teaching someone who's been a complete asshole a lesson.
And the fact that he actually brought up the fact there's nothing signed is brilliant.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on to him.
So just while we're talking about Conor McGregor, there's a bit of news there today.
It's we should be, by the time this podcast airs, this will all have been sorted out, but it seems like Jose Aldo has fractured a rib possibly and could be sidelined until October.
Yeah.
Which puts the main event at UFC 189 in serious jeopardy. So, we don't actually, at the time of this recording, right, we don't have anything confirmed. He may not have a fractured rib. He may just have had a boo-boo in training.
Yeah.
But I read a report from someone with a source very close to Zuffa that has been right on the money a number of times in the past that said the main event is in fact off, and the Fertitta brothers are aware of it, but aren't going to announce anything until they have solidified a replacement fighter.
Right.
Now, time will prove whether I'm right or not about that, and I should be trusting this source or not.
The latest I heard on that was that Nate Diaz has claimed it for himself.
Everybody is claiming it.
Yeah.
This is such a bandwagon,
isn't it? Yeah.
I see Irishman Joe Duffy was jumping on that bandwagon earlier today. He beat Conor McGregor many years ago.
Yeah. And
he's claiming he can do it again.
Yeah, Joe, and who else? Max Holloway was on there as well, and there's a few others queuing up, sure, now, aren't they?
Everybody.
It's big money.
The king of the Tinkers is probably going to throw his hat in the ring.
This is true, yeah. So tell us, back to TV and stuff. What did you see this week? Fight Ship, I believe you saw that.
I saw the first episode of season 2 of The Last Ship, and I was very, very happy. Great episode to kick the season off.
Did you see this as well, Sean?
God, no.
No. So you said it's actually called Fight the Ship, is episode 2.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Strangely, somebody is obviously an Is It a Bicycle fan on the writing staff of The Last Ship.
Very good, very good. I got to The Brink, which is the new Jack Black and Tim Robbins show. It's about...
There's a combination.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Jack Black kind of playing, it's more reminiscent of his Bernie character than his Tenacious D character, let's say.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And he's playing like a low-level American embassy employee that's in Pakistan, and a coup occurs, and he's out scoring some marijuana or something when he gets stuck in the middle of it, and the embassy goes in lockdown, so he can't get back in. So he happens across medical details of the guy who is running the coup, and he's trying to get them back to the president. Tim Robbins plays something like Secretary of External Affairs or something like that. I'm not exactly sure of his exact title, but
he's the best kind of affairs. They're the best kind of affairs.
Well, he's absolutely sex mad and big into fetishes and all the rest of it, and that's Shaun. It's very funny, actually. But he's pretty incompetent, except when it gets down to the big decisions. He's pretty good. But he's trying to avert World War III because some of the generals want to go in and blow up stuff where there are nuclear bombs, and the Chinese are saying, if you do that, we're going to back them or go straight into India and so on. And Israel are saying, oh, they've got nukes, they're going to come after us, so they want to strike first. And it sort of starts like that, but it's very, very funny, actually, in places. So, yeah, I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's definitely worth a look.
What's that? The
Sounds
United Nations?
interesting.
That's the Brink,
Oh, right.
it's called. Yeah. So it's a bit of a geopolitical crisis.
I think I might actually watch that, and maybe Shaun will too, and then we could review it next week.
Brilliant. What else is I watched Office Space again. Yeah, this is from 1999. It's John C. McGinley, Gary Cole, Ron Livingston, and Jennifer Aniston.
Gary Cole.
Yeah. Have you seen this?
No.
Oh, this is brilliant. You'd love it. Anyone who has ever worked in an office,
Okay.
or even not,
Yeah.
will love this. Gary Cole is just brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
he
a
plays-
Dilberty kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
He
right.
plays the boss.
Okay.
It's based on character Milton,
Mm-hmm.
who's also in it. But Gary Cole is just brilliant
Okay.
as the boss. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. And this is about the third or fourth time I've seen it. Yeah, it's very quotable as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you see this week?
I've been busy, really busy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got through 7 episodes of Game of Thrones.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did a nice batch. I did 3 on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. And then I'm saving 3 because I kind of want to watch the last 3. I figure they're going to be a set.
Right.
So I'll get to that later in the week. Also, Wayward Pines is coming back this week. So I went up to the mid-season finale, episode 5, and really enjoying the hell out of that. It's exceeded expectations. We thought it had potential. And,
Yeah.
I'm really liking it.
So it finished mid-season on episode 5.
Yeah.
And it's back next week.
Yeah.
So it was a 2-week break, or?
I think it was 3 or 4 weeks. Actually.
Oh, really? Was it
Yeah,
that long?
they were kind of taking the piss out of it. But
Did anyone get to see True Detective season 2, episode 1?
Yup.
Yo, what you
Yes,
reckon?
indeed.
What you reckon?
I reckon that the problem is that it's a little bit trying too hard to be True Detective. Like, there's some really good shit in the first episode. The way that they introduce the plight of Colin Farrell, who seems to be our main character, the way that they introduce that is very well acted, very well scripted. Like, it's good shit. Like, there's a moment where this guy throws big wads of cash on a table to pay a lawyer, and you're immediately just like, what shady shit are you in?
Yeah.
And the lawyer just looks at him and he goes, what, you like paying taxes? And that's amazing. But here's the thing, right? They have more than twice as many characters in episode 1 as they have in episode 1 of season 1 of True Detective.
Yeah.
Because in season 1 of True Detective, here's what you get, right? There's a murder. We know that there's something about the murder that comes up like 15 years in the future. You have 2 cops. One of them lost his child. And that's really shitty. That's an extreme situation. But that thing happens, like, we can understand it, right? And you've got this other cop who is a family man who's really shit at being a family man. Believable. Easy. We get it. But when you have 4 characters, all of whom have some weird shit, like many of whom happen to be addicts, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit more difficult to swallow. And then of course you have to deal with the fact that it's a completely new world. We're not in the swamps of Louisiana. We're not in the backwoods. We have, with Los Angeles looming in the distance, we're in the fake town of Vinci, which is an industrial municipality somewhere between Vegas and LA, which is interesting, but it's a more recognizable milieu, which means that it's more difficult to fudge the lines.
Yeah. Did you find it? Well, actually, just to give a bit of background on what it's about, right? It's the disappearance of a city manager disrupts a lucrative land scheme and ignites an investigation involving 3 police officers and a criminal who is moving into legitimate business. right? So this stars Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams, Taylor Kitsch, Vince Vaughn, Kelly Riley. They're sort of the big names. Yeah. So did you feel that this was very reminiscent of something like LA Confidential, for example?
I mean, it was definitely trying to be a gritty, kind of noirish, but also kind of a Western, it felt, in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a crime Western. And then it tried to add to that by giving it that true detective flair, where there's a cult involved and weird statues of, like, fucking African fertility gods. Because, you know, it has to be weird.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Although I have to say it was a bit of a slow start for me. It
was such a slow start.
It was, and it took me until I don't know, about halfway through before I went, yeah, I'm in now. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing as well, right?
Yeah.
Marty and Rust are both in the first scene.
Yeah.
The first moments of True Detective.
Yeah.
Their relationship is established with the first few lines. Whereas we don't know what relationships most of these characters have with each other.
Yeah.
So every episode after this will be better than the first one. It will be.
Yeah. It's like the first half hour of a movie or something, really. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I think this will be series linked, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
What else? Star Wars Rebels is back. Have you seen that, Sean?
I haven't actually. That is
No.
So season 2 you were saying?
Yes, yeah, episode 1, and it's a double episode. It's 40 minutes. It's fantastic. Yeah, it really is. It's not as, you know, episode 1 was kind of kiddie, you know, more than kind of kiddie. It was almost Lego-ish, right? This is it's a little bit better. It's a bit darker, and a lot more action in it. And it's a dirty.
I really think we should stop talking about other TV shows, Steve, until you go and watch the first 2 episodes of The Last Ship. Talk about your priorities being just all over the place.
There's a lot of stuff open this week. Can't get to them all. And I knew you'd cover Fight Ship first, so that was all good. You're a man who'd appreciate Fight
It's
Ship.
not about covering it. I know we have a reporting responsibility, but it's about the joy from seeing people on a ship fighting.
Okay, well, speaking of fighting, we had UFC and Bellator this weekend. Just to mention 2 fights in it. They were absolutely fantastic. It was a co-event of the Bellator one, which was the Pitbull fight. Did you see that?
Missed it. Good.
One of the most amazing comebacks ever. Ever. Get to it. That's all I'd say. And UFC main event, Joanna, Polish girl.
A lot of talk about that fight.
Absolutely unreal. Yeah. Absolutely. Like they say, some fighters come on and put on a clinic. No, that was a clinic.
For bonus points, Steve, can you pronounce her last name?
I can't. I'll have to forego the bonus points. Can you?
Can I, heck? It's unpronounceable.
Okay, so moving on. Okay, let's go to the news.
So, big news
Big news this week is that 50 Shades of Grey is out on DVD. Which means we can now do the DVD review that our fans have been waiting for. So, sorry, Sean, I'm bursting into your section. I'll let you add it in 2 seconds. I was in Lidl the other day, which is like a convenience store in Ireland, right? And I went in first, and my wife did a few more laps of the car park to put the baby to sleep before we came in, because we had the shopping to do, right? So I got through the first 2 aisles. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw the buggy and the pushchair come in, so I knew Michelle was in the shop. So, pretending like it was on my shopping list, I picked up 8 copies of 50 Shades of Grey on DVD and put them in the shopping trolley. And then just carried on shopping. Like, and then Michelle came up and said, "Oh, what you getting?" I said, I picked up a few things already." Like, she started roaring, laughing. Then I said, "What the fuck you do? Take them out." So she took them out then, and only then did a woman who had been behind me realize I was joking. So she was like, "Oh, he's trying to shame you," and she thought we were the best of friends. It was very funny. Sean, I do apologize. Back to you.
It's fine. So big news out of the Marvel camp. Spider-Man has been cast. So after a long period of ferrying young child stars out to Atlanta where they're filming, Marvel's latest upcoming film, Civil War, Captain America Civil War, which will be coming out in like a year or so. They were doing screen tests with Iron Man and Captain America to see how their young candidates would fare. And they've decided on Tom Holland, who anyone who's seen the movie The Impossible with Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor will recognize this young chap. So yeah, fair play to him. Let's hope that the glorified cameos that he will be in for the next little while until Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man reboot in 2017, comes out. So fair play to Tom Holland. I hope he isn't shit. So there you go. More news, unfortunate news from NBC. Hannibal, after some fairly dismal ratings, as it aired its third episode of the third season, has been cancelled. It will not be coming back to NBC for a fourth season.
Hang on, I need a moment.
Yeah. I had to get Shaun to say that. I couldn't break the news to you.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to take it out on some defenseless animals, I think.
I think I speak for all of us when I say this is not my design. But there is a minute glimmer of hope, as there always is nowadays when a TV show gets cancelled. The Fannibals are trying to get Hannibal onto one of the streaming websites like Hulu or Netflix or some such, where they would have a lot more free reign to produce their very aesthetically pleasing, kind of gory but kind of not, wonderfully acted, ridiculous serial killer show. However, the Hollywood Reporter had a little bit of extra a gossip, rumor, or potentially fact to add to the to spin the proceedings. Apparently, there could have been rights issues as NBC moved into its fourth season of Hannibal, as they wanted to introduce the character of Clarice Starling, who they may not have the rights to at all. So there's a potential worry there. So who knows what will happen? Keep listening to Is It a Bicycle if you would like to be updated on the latest. And the final piece of news, which I think is quite interesting. Steve, you sent me a pretty cool article from Variety, I believe, about how the box office race isn't really a one person wins, everybody else fucks off and goes home and gets turned into glue kind of situation. That's not really what's going on. So Jurassic World made 100+ million in a weekend. Its second one, not its first one, which is pretty good. 102 million or so in your second week is amazing.
Yeah.
But another movie that just came out, Inside Out from Pixar, made 91 million, which in any other week is number one. It also broke a record, which not many people have been talking about. It broke the record for most money made by an original film, like a non-sequel.
Not only that, an original live action or otherwise that isn't based on sourced material, which eclipsed the 77 million debut of Avatar.
Yeah, which is huge. But what's interesting is that it also lost a record, because every single one of the past 14 Pixar movies has won the weekend.
Yeah.
It's been number one. So for the first time, it's a pretty good record, to break. But yeah, but apparently, they're still incredibly pleased. How could you not? How could you not be? So, it was just an interesting perspective, on Inside Out and on Jurassic World, and how them both making money is probably fine. I, would just, like to point out, I went and I saw Inside Out.
So did I.
A preview screening a few weeks ago, actually. You went to see it, Steve.
I did.
Maybe I should give a quick synopsis for everybody. So Inside Out is Pixar's film about what if feelings had feelings. It's essentially a look inside a person's head to see how their memories and their personality are formed from an animated perspective, from the points of view of joy, sadness, anger, disgust, and fear, the 5 basic emotions fueling and apparently driving all of us. So it's a fun little adventure inside someone's mind.
Oh man, I'm sorry I missed that.
It's actually, you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's really fun.
It's a lot better than I thought it would be. Yeah. I laughed a lot.
For those of you without the benefit of video on this podcast, Michael was being sarcastic. If you happen to have your sarcasmometer on, it may have just exploded.
Shaun, so you enjoyed it?
I really did.
Yeah.
So first of all, points for originality. That's huge, right? And the opening of this movie manages to set up the world way better than it should be able to. Like, you're there. You completely get it. You can tell that it took them 4 years to craft this movie, like, story fully, completely. I cared about the characters. The conflict that they had of joy and sadness being lost amongst the various other denizens of Riley's mind was interesting, be they people running the train of thought, abstract projections, abstract thought, imaginary friends, etc. I thought that it was incredibly clever. However,
it's just fantastic the way they visualize that. Like the
amazing.
concept of memories and, like you say, train of thought and different sections for different memories, or different islands, or like the subconscious as well. All that stuff. It was just brilliantly done. It was really, really well done.
It was great. And the only thing I'd say is that I don't know, like, Pixar has been making great movies for a long time. And recently I've found a decline in quality while the movies have still been quite good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for example, Brave was a good movie. It wasn't amazing by any standards, but Brave was a very good, like, animated movie. It was emotional, yada yada.
Yeah.
But it wasn't up to the caliber of, we'll say, Toy Story 3. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like Inside Out is a great movie and continues that tradition. But I don't know if it it reaches the heady heights of, we'll say, like, your Toy Story 1 or 3, or like The Incredibles, Like,
Maybe
those
not,
would be
but it's
still-
going to make them a shitload of money.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Because it's only second for them to Toy Story 3 in takings for the weekend.
Which is
Or
amazing.
not for the weekend. Sorry, in total, isn't it?
Well, so far, I guess.
Yeah. And what do you call it? And it's all based on emotions, which is what all of these kids' movies try and get to. So they probably sat down, so we need something with emotions. What are we going to do? Why don't we just put emotions into it? Brilliant idea. Give that man a raise. Yeah, it's just perfect because they hit every spot, and, you laugh, you cry, you're jealous, you're, that kind of thing, fearful for them, and blah, blah, blah. So.
And you know what's interesting is that the producer and director of this movie came to UNLV, where I go to school, to talk about it. And apparently the idea came from, funnily enough, one of those guys having a child, watching their kid, Riley, who the main character is named
No
after.
way.
Yeah. Watching the kid grow up and just looking at your child and going, what is going on in there? And how can I help? Like, what can I do? And it's interesting because he's now got a teenager. So it'll be interesting to see if they make
Inside Out too.
Inside Out.
Well, it's totally geared towards it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brilliant. So I have some other news.
Mm-hmm.
This just in. Shia LaBeouf. Is that Shia the Beef?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep. Shia Mr. the Beef.
Yeah. Was hospitalized today with a bit of a head injury. 20 stitches and 13 staples to his head and finger later. He's home and chilling out, listening to his at a bicycle. It seems he was doing a scene for an upcoming movie, American Honey, where he's required to put his head through a window. And didn't quite go to plan.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, did he keep it together and stay in character? And just go, God damn it, Jesus, and just keep going, Is he the pro that we all think he is? Or did he go, oh, Jesus! Bomb out. So, yeah, that was one thing. Actor and filmmaker, Ray Fiennes, is set to step behind the camera to direct his third movie, but this is going to be about, Rudolf Nureyev, the Russian ballet dancer. Now, before you give out, Mark, it's a good story. This is
It would need to be.
This is based on Julie Kavanagh's celebrated biography of the Soviet-born dancer who defected to the West in 1961.
Spoilers.
It's not really. It's history.
Because it happened.
So he went on to dance with the Royal Ballet and act in films, and so on. Among them, one's biopic of silent movie star what's his name? Fucking Rudolph Valentino. Yeah. So anyway, but anyway, his later life is interesting too.
So this is like one man's struggle to find a pair of yoga pants that'll fit his balls.
Oh, that guy had big balls. Yeah, there's no doubt. Physically or not, he had big balls, that guy. Remember we reviewed or watched Catastrophe in January. This was Rob Delaney and Sharon Horgan.
You have a good memory.
American boy Rob gets Irish girl Sharon pregnant when they hook up for a week on a business trip in London. Do you remember that? Yeah, that has just come out in the US on Amazon. It's hilarious. It's at least 8 or 10 parts. Highly recommend it. Go watch it. Yeah. So that's all I have to say on that. It's the end of the news, I guess. Let's kick off with the first for our TV. Shaun, tell us all about Ballers.
So a retired Super Bowl winning American football player, Dwayne Johnson, is now a financial manager. And he's under a lot of pressure financially and just at work in his career in general to monetize his relationships. So we get to see him move to the world of people who used to be some of like the most famous, the most wanted, the most sought after players. And now what are they going to do with themselves? With all the money in the world, with all the notoriety in the world, and with the ability to fucking kill a guy by running at him, what is going to happen with these guys in their lives? And will The Rock be able to help them? So that's what it's about.
Brilliant. So, what do we think? Mark?
Firstly, what shape is The Rock in? Holy
He's too
shit.
big for TV.
He's seriously put together. This is exactly my kind of TV show. It's a TV show with lots of drama, and there's a sporting backdrop, which I think makes everything better. And it also features really big, strong guys. So this had it ticked a lot of the boxes for me right out of the gate. The Rock seems very non-rockish from the get-go and very convincing in that. He appears to have donned his acting gloves and has given it his best shot in this. We're going to talk a little bit later in the podcast about actors who only have one speed. And I was interested to see that the Rock seems to have a lot more in his kit bag than just his rockness. The story was interesting. I thought they did an excellent job of engaging me in the characters. I thought they established all of the characters really well and made them very sympathetic. They're all really, really human. And like it's a fairly, none of us, apart from possibly Shaun, have been mega famous ever. So, you have to imagine a little bit what it would be like to be that big and then not to be at all, and just the silence of it. And it's, we've seen it comedically through the eyes of Kenny Powers as well. But this is a bit more of a serious take on it. And I thought they did a really good job of putting a face on that kind of a struggle. And The Rock, of course, being the guy who's going to try and guide people through it. So I think it is huge potential. It's gone straight into my list of shows that I'm going to keep on watching. So yeah, it's thumbs up for me anyway.
Yeah, I was really taken aback with this show because I saw The Rock was in it, so I assumed either he'd be beating people up or it'd be fucking hilarious. And then it turned out to be serious, and I was like, oh, okay. Let's just back it up a little bit here and reevaluate. And it started to become really, really good. It reminded me a lot of, there was a PBS documentary last year about professional football players and their financial woes. And this hits the mark really well.
What, you saw that recently?
Last year, maybe?
I think that's made by the same guy who made Dogfights and Cocaine Cowboys.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. It was an excellent documentary.
Yeah. I think he made it that. Yeah. God.
Like they were, like in that documentary, they're talking about the average NFL career is only 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So guys sign on with a $10 million contract at age 22, and they get a $10 million lifestyle, and by 25 they're out.
Billy Corbin, that's his name.
Is that it?
Yeah, director.
Right.
Yeah.
And a huge, staggering amount of them are bankrupt by the age of 30. So this really, ties into that really well. And as Mark says, it takes the characters, and you can see they're just all waiting to self-destruct, and you're kind of hoping that The Rock and Jesus help some of them, and he's got quite a lot of humanity in it, which I didn't expect from him. As Mark was saying, the having an extra gear is a surprise to me. And I thought he carried it off quite well. When he was telling people how it is or whatever, it wasn't in the normal grimacing, threatening way that you would expect from his action features.
Right.
There was an actual feeling of concern behind it.
Yeah.
Which was surprising and enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. It was quite good, actually. Yeah, I was surprised at that it wasn't more testosterone fueled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it did remind me a bit of Eastbound and Down.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the car dealership going for a job thing. That's the tie there. But yeah, Dwayne is looking good in the tightest of suits ever.
Yep. Can't be easy to make a suit for him.
This was better than Jerry Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
They've got similar things, subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
Feels smartish, and I guess it'll be a winner for those who have an interest in the baller culture, The Rock, or general misogyny or objectification.
Yeah.
There is
a whole lot of objectification.
There certainly is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd say Shaun would fucking love this show.
The character Ricky who just can't stop getting into trouble.
Yeah.
That's Denzel Washington's son.
No way.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. His name is John David Washington. Yeah. He might just go as Jay or John. I'm not sure. I enjoyed this. Yeah, it's on my series link as well now. Yeah. I think you guys have pretty much covered it. I mean, it's a lot maturer than I thought it was. It's a lot better written than I thought it was. I like that Dwayne isn't necessarily a hero.
Yeah.
That he's more of a normal dude who's just seen stuff happen before, and it's happened to him. And he could be hanging himself at the same time, by trying to do the taking risks and trying to do the right thing, which may or may not work out. Yeah. So I'm in.
He's quite obviously chewing painkillers the whole time as well.
Yeah.
So despite his being in good shape, he's obviously beaten up to fuck by his career.
Yeah.
There's a lot of miles on that clock.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's fucking huge. He's massive. Jesus. So anything to add, Mark?
I don't think so, Steve. I think you've covered it pretty well there. But the Rock is definitely a big surprise out of this. And I think we've all said, it's cleverly written. So definitely give it a go. Also, there's objectification.
Yes. So thrillers all around then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Next TV we looked at was The Whispers. Mike.
The Whispers is a strange little show. It's about little people that hear little voices that make them do things that probably aren't quite as little in their consequences as they might imagine. Bunch of kids hear voices in their heads. Parents don't come off so well usually. What on earth could be happening?
Yeah. It's a character called Drill.
Yes.
Tell us more about Drill.
Drill, nobody sees him except kids. Hangs around in light bulbs, apparently. And has a remarkable penchant for causing harm to adults. There seems to be a game involved, but we don't know too much about that game. There are also disappearing military assets, which is another stream of the story, which is kind of difficult how they're tying in the two, but they seem to somehow manage it.
I think they do a great job, Mike. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are many links in this, and there's many coincidental links as well, which is my only problem with it.
You don't like coincidences.
No, there's
I want it all to make sense.
That's just too easy. It's just too easy in places, you know. So, but apart from that, I like this. I didn't think I would. Scary children don't entertain me really. But no, this one did. The actress, the little girl Harper, brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah, she was class.
She's the first girl that
Yeah,
we meet. Is she?
yeah.
She's very good.
Isn't she? Yeah. She didn't come across as being forced, forcing her part, or just repeat after me, now go, you know. And I like the main investigative person, detective agent person. She has the same look as Homeland girl.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit...
That's happened a few times recently,
Yeah,
hasn't it? Yeah. So,
we got a bit of a formula going on there, you know. It's we'll make her blonde, either crazy or damaged in some way.
pantsuits.
Yeah, pantsuits.
Yeah.
And I mean, I no problem with pantsuits.
Yeah. No,
first time.
No, I have no problem with it. It's just it's the look as well, you know. It's the whole image. Yeah. Yeah, I am intrigued by the whole fighter thing, and it's, you know, I have no idea what's coming. Right, I have no idea more than anyone else, but I get the feeling is there an alien aspect or
Maybe.
supernatural? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea, but that's what I get the feeling at the end of it. Anyway, Mark.
This is exactly the kind of TV show I like to watch.
Yeah.
Mike, in your synopsis there, you strayed into talking about the different plot lines that are running and may possibly be connected. I'm 3 episodes into this now.
Okay.
I have it series linked, and I'm waiting for each one to come out and watching it right away. So it has me hooked at any rate. The mystery elements, I think, are really enticing, because I hope it's not aliens, like you suggested, Steve. It could be. It's a perfectly reasonable explanation given the world that we're in the Whispers. But I hope it isn't. I hope it's a better, more slightly real explanation than that, because they've done a good job of portraying supernatural events in a realistic fashion, you know, given what's going on. And they've kind of put them in a backdrop of the US military and family drama, basically, which just makes all of it seem like it could happen.
Yeah.
Which is what you want in a sci-fi show, is you want them to convince you somehow that their rubbish is real.
Do they reveal a lot more, or is there more mystery in episodes 2 and 3 to keep you hooked?
Drill is still very mysterious, but the links are revealed a lot more.
Cool.
So it's not as coincidental.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're starting to show the unseen hand of a greater design.
Okay.
Which might satisfy you, I think, if you keep watching, Steve. It might not, but sure, if you watch any more, you can
I'll
come
give it
back
a go,
and
all
tell us.
right? Yeah.
I agree with you. The kid actors are great.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Peter Petrelli from Heroes back on our screens again. And the girl from American Horror Story seems to be doing a good job leading this show.
This is the other thing. They're not big names, but they've all been very good in it. Really good in it. Very strong. Yeah.
Yeah, strong cast. Yeah. Decent writing, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
And it's paced very well. It keeps tipping along. The old explainy bits where you have to sit around and try and figure out what's going on are kept nice and short. And then the foreboding Jaws music is kept to the fore. So yeah, it's right up my street. I like it.
Cool. Yeah, I think, are we all agreeing it's a thriller then? You're not agreeing, Mike.
No.
You're shaking your head. You gave it a stellar review there 2 minutes ago.
It doesn't have enough for me.
Doesn't have enough what? Objectification?
Yeah. Nowhere near enough objectification. Yeah, Claire Danes doesn't pass mustard in this. I don't think she's particularly believable. I didn't think she did a
Claire
great job.
Danes? What are you talking about?
Sorry, the Claire Danes.
If this was Homeland, the girl isn't good enough.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like Homelands with the shit Claire Danes.
Oh, she's not nuts enough for you. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I know.
maybe.
Yeah.
And the whole relationship with her son was a bit too fucking cutesy pie for my liking. I started feeling a bit of sick in the back of my throat when
She's
I saw
lost
that.
her husband.
You're just rude.
She's lost her husband. And the poor kid had an illness that made him deaf. Come on. That will melt your heart, no?
Yeah, she's probably colourblind as well.
Yeah.
You know, for fuck's sake. Move on. Nothing for you to see here.
Yeah, she's had 3 months off. What more does she want?
Fucking malinger. So yeah, that kind of lost it for me, and also, it piqued my interest a little bit when one of the characters started speaking in tongues, but I have a funny feeling that's not going to grow, because I'm leaning more towards Aliens than Exorcist in this kind of a thing. So no, I don't really care what happens. So unless this gets to the end of the season and Mark comes back and says, Mike, this is the greatest fucking show you've never watched, I'm going to give this a miss.
Fair enough. So, filler.
Yep.
And 2 turners. Looks like it. All right.
Mike,
Okay.
as always, is a man of opinions.
Yeah.
He is valiant in their defense.
Last up, we've got our movie, which is Spy. Stars Melissa McCarthy, who plays Susan Cooper, who's a desk-bound intelligence officer. So she's pretty much in the ear of a field operative all the time, played by Jude Law, who's your stereotypical Bond guy, or spy even. So she's set up with a very 24-esque computer screen setup where she can see infrared in through the... Yeah. Stop. You're going to blow someone's speakers now, whoever's listening. She can see when people are coming around corners and the layout of buildings and guide him where he needs to go and who's coming where and open doors and all that kind of stuff. So something happens to Jude earlier on. So they need someone who is unrecognizable to take his place, which is where Susan Cooper comes in. She goes, I'll go. And all the other spies can't go because they're recognizable now. So she has to approach the villain, who's played by Rose Byrne, who's great as a stereotypical villain herself. She's quite evil and sexy. Yeah.
Jason, a sexy evil genius.
Yeah. Jason Statham is in this, and he provides the comedy. He's a real old school spy, and he goes on hilarious monologues on how badass he is. I thought he was losing it there at one stage.
Yeah.
I thought, oh god, this is going on a bit. I went, oh no, there it is. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, and guffawed. Yeah, very, very funny. Melissa McCarthy actually sort of does interesting things in this movie, where she starts out as a character we haven't seen Melissa McCarthy as, which is kind of a little bit meek, kind of humble or
set upon,
and not much confidence, and exactly. She has dinner with her friend, and she describes stuff that her mother used to say to her when she was a kid, which was absolutely brilliant, and it was all confidence undermining stuff, but I have a feeling that those scenes, that I'd say that she sort of came up with them. They just said, you do your thing, right? This is what we want, you need you to say. And then she sort of came up with them. And I'd say there's about 20 outtakes,
We'll just follow you around for the day.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I doubt that those lines are written, but the interesting thing is that she develops throughout the movie, and becomes, the Melissa McCarthy nearly that we saw in Heat, that character. Yeah. But at that stage, I thought, oh god, I don't want to see another movie like that where she plays this character again, and where what was it, Identity Thief, and the aggressive, and blah blah blah. But by the time she gets there, you're sort of going, oh yeah, context. Yeah. It works, Yeah, it's really good. I think she did a great job. I think Jude Law did a great job, and Rose Byrne did a great job, and Jason Statham. Yeah, it was brilliant because he's Jason Statham. You know that he's action, no messing kind of guy. Yeah. This kind of thing, and you know that he's taking a piss out of himself. Yeah. He really is, and I think he's brilliant at sort of conveying that he's in on the joke. Yeah. But yeah, it's great. It's great. I really enjoyed this. I didn't expect it to be half as funny as it was, and I did laugh a lot. Actually, it's a while since I watched a movie where I laughed genuinely more than, yeah, that was kind of funny. Yeah. But we're actually going, that's Gaz, you know. So, yeah. What did you think? Mark?
Well, from having watched the trailer...
Oh, you haven't seen the movie, Mark?
Many weeks ago, I said, well, this looks like another Melissa McCarthy movie. But now, having heard your in-depth synopsis / summary of what happens in the movie, not only do I feel like I don't have to watch it, but that I probably should have.
Fair play, Mark. Yeah, you should. You really should. Yeah. It's good fun.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But like, you told me what happens. I don't need to watch it.
No, I didn't tell you what happens. No, I didn't.
You said her character develops. I think I've got everything there.
No, her character develops. You missed it, though. Yeah. Mike?
I don't know what to think about this movie. Because, as you said, Melissa McCarthy is good.
Yeah.
Jude Law is great.
Yeah.
Jason Statham is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Rose Byrne, wonderful job.
He paused. He didn't know what to say. Rose Byrne, yeah, good job, wonderful job. Yep. Just say it, Mike.
The cut version. Outtakes on isitabicycle.com. It's well filmed. There are a lot of funny bits in it, but I didn't really enjoy it.
No.
And I don't understand why, because there was so much good in it. Maybe it's just because I'm a miserable fucker.
It's most likely.
Yeah.
But was there another reason?
I just didn't think all the bits fitted together properly. Like there are certain sections where people disappear or whatever, which go on for too long. And you kind of start to forget certain people are around. So I thought the pacing was a little bit off in that regard.
A little bit disjointed.
Okay. And I think actually my main problem with the movie is they didn't go big enough.
Oh.
There were points in the movie where I was thinking they should go all in here and do a fucking Team America on it. Knock down the Eiffel Tower.
Right, yeah.
Collapse the Colosseum.
Okay.
This kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, they obviously didn't have the budget to knock down the Eiffel Tower. But, that just left me feeling a little bit disappointed. Which is a shame because, the interaction between Jude Law and Melissa McCarthy is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't want to give away too much, but there's some serious awkwardness there.
Yeah.
That is just beautifully handled on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. You're laughing from the start.
Yeah.
From the start of it, which is really good.
Mm. And, there's some really hurtful stuff. Like, when Rose Byrne is deconstructing her dress and stuff like that, it's just fucking spiteful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't understand why I didn't like this movie a lot more than I did, because it is a good movie.
Yeah.
So my review doesn't make any fucking sense at all, does it?
Oh, well, what are you going to mark it as, then?
Well, that's the thing. I'm feeling 6-ish.
Okay, that's a reasonable. I'm not sure, but it was good.
Yeah. I did enjoy it, but it was missing something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, 6 would
more explosions, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Faster cars.
Okay. Yep.
And even more objectification.
I'm going to go as far as giving this an 8.
Would you?
Yeah. Because it made me laugh. Yeah, it made me laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pleasant surprise. I thought I was going to get tired of Melissa. Not tired of Melissa, but just that character that she'd played a few times, or a similar character. Yeah. But she did so well in this. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, she was really good.
I'm just going to put this out there.
Yeah.
What would you think of Jude Law as Bond?
I wouldn't object too much.
I thought he looked good in the part.
Looks a bit dapper.
He's not butch enough though. He has an effeminate air to him always.
Maybe you're right, Jim.
Maybe. But he's certainly fucking suave enough, the bastard.
Yeah, he's suave, all right.
Yeah.
Well, he absolutely has the charm bullets, and he's fully loaded. But he isn't like a manly enough man for Bond, I don't think.
What if they put him in the gym for 6 months, put 20 pounds on him and a few scars?
Well, he is an actor.
Wasn't he and Dom Hemingway? And he played kind of
yes.
a hard man.
Yeah, he's quite good in Tom Hemingway. Yeah.
So he has the potential, So
Yeah. Don't rule it out. You heard it here first on Is It a Bicycle?
Okay. So that's a 6 and an 8 for that. Okay, next up we've got some previews in Coming to a Bicycle near you. Okay, the first one we looked at was Daddy's Home with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
Well, if there isn't two better people to put in a movie than Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
So Will Ferrell is again being Will Ferrell in this movie. This time he is playing a well-intentioned stepdad trying to connect with his two kids and is put upon by the arrival of their real dad, played by Mark Wahlberg. And this trailer contains some of the funniest scenes I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about a few actors, and Will is one of them, because they seem to only have a single gear. We talked about this about The Rock. It seems to be a night for talking about people's diversity.
Yeah.
But he just plays the well-meaning somebody who meets an antagonist and becomes funny. And he's doing exactly that again, but it's just, if the trailer is anything to go by, this might be the funniest movie mankind has ever seen. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, definitely check out this trailer. There's some really, really fun, especially there's a scene with him on a motorbike that I just thought it was so funny, and the aftermath of the motorbike incident is just brilliant. Yeah, check this trailer out. Yeah.
And Wahlberg is great too as being the straight man to someone else's funny. Like he's great at deadpanning jokes. Like,
yeah,
I think he's just like, he did so much of that in Ted.
Yeah,
like, he was largely responsible for how funny that film was, and I think he could do this again here. But my only worry is that the funniest bits were in the trailer.
I don't know how the hell this got made.
Really?
I'd say somebody wrote a script, went along to the producers or whoever does the hiring in these situations, says, "Dad versus Dad," and the executive looks at him and he says, "That's shit." And then the writer says, "Yeah, but we got Wahlberg and Ferrell." And the executive blows his load and says, "Okay, we're hired."
You think it's on the back of the actors?
I think it is. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. This would be a shit movie if these guys weren't in it, but they're going to make it work.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. Yeah, it looks hilarious. The next one we looked at was Jack Strong.
Well, no, this had subtitles, so I struggled to understand what this was about. But it's about a spy. Who was the new man from Watchmen? Patrick Wilson? Is that his name?
I think so. Sounds familiar.
Patrick Wilson plays
subtitles?
a famous Polish spy during the Cold War. And there are lots of spy things happening. Sometimes they speak English, which is encouraging, but quite often there's writing in the screen, which is a major put-off.
Oh, I didn't even notice, actually.
But it seems to be basically about, based on a true story about this spy who made a big difference in the Cold War. And if the trailer is to be believed, nearly gets caught a lot of times in 90 minutes.
Yeah, I like the look of this. I love Cold War stuff.
And writing on the screen.
Oh, writing on the screen doesn't bother me. So yeah. It adds to the I don't know. It adds to the movie when it has it in its original language. For me, anyway.
Why do they have like all the?
Fuck off!
I really like when the films are in their original language.
Yeah.
When you translate them into English, I feel that so much is lost.
Actually, that is exactly it. I do feel a lot is lost when it's all English. Absolutely.
You're right, Steve.
Absolutely.
You need to get to some fancy parties where everyone has to wear
no.
a suit.
No, I need to wear my cravat more often. No, it's it's
Mark, for Steve's birthday, we have to buy him a pipe. He can say that shit with a pipe hanging out of his mouth.
I'll grow a beard out as well. But like this was the problem. Not to go too off the rails here, but in Sense8, that was my problem with Sense8. With there's 8 different characters.
Not enough subtitles, or
Exactly, there wasn't any, and there's people
That's what
in
you just
all
said,
cultures, in all
yeah,
different countries, and they all spoke English, and I was a bit,
yeah.
you know. That it just that didn't. I think it would work better if they had used subtitles. It's my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I do think if it was in their natural language, that it would have been much better for all and sundry involved.
Why do they have kind of 24-esque computery icons and images and stuff overlapping this sort of 1970s, early 80s story? That kind of threw me a bit.
Oh yeah.
It all looks very Tom Clancy.
Yeah. It was kind of in a Halt and Catch Fire kind of way, though, wasn't it? They were all like early
Yeah.
machines.
Yeah, but they had colours and stuff.
Oh, I missed
There
that.
was red letters and stuff. That really threw me.
Oh, is that to show that it's military?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, and has a military font.
It's
kind
like,
of thing.
It's like threatening.
Yeah. This is serious.
This is building the tension, even just watching the trailer.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
where it gives you like Warsaw, and it has it in red letters in that digital font. Yeah. So what do you reckon?
I don't know.
You're not a big
fan.
fan of the Cold War stuff,
Not
really,
really,
no.
because nothing ever fucking happened.
This is true. It's just a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
If they'd fucking gotten down to it, like sent the tanks over the border, then you'd have a story.
All right.
Could yet happen?
Could yet happen.
Mhm.
Next, or lastly, we saw 5-star. What do we think of this?
5-star seems to be kind of a bit like The Wire in movie form. It's there's like a seasoned gang member talking to, I guess, an aspirant gang member. And the trailer seems to go through him telling this guy lots of things about the way he runs his business and how he got to where he is and to be the man he is. And the other guy trying to possibly get involved in the life of a drug dealer, I imagine. Looks really interesting. Looks very gritty. And it seemed to have, to me at least, some of the elements that made The Wire good, which it portrayed a lot of the criminal elements to be just a hell of a lot smarter than people think a lot of the time. So I'm interested in watching this. No subtitles anywhere.
What do you think of this, Mike?
Well, you know how much I love ghetto movies.
Oh, you love them, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're Jewish ghettos in Poland somewhere, as we know, Schindler's List kind of ghettos.
Stop it, Steve. Stop it.
Well, they're the kind of movies that you like. Yeah,
The war's over, man. The war's over.
I know that you don't like this kind of thing or city central type gang movies, really.
No, it wrecks my fucking buzz.
Imagine if there was one that was a caper. God, you'd hate that.
Yeah, a caper in a ghetto. Jesus Christ.
But that's exactly what your problem was with Spy.
Yeah.
It was a caper.
It was too
There it is.
capery. Yeah, there
Nailed
you go.
it. There you go. Right.
You're a fucking genius, Steve. No, my main problem with this, I actually watched the trailer twice, and I looked really, really close to it. I didn't see Judge Dredd anywhere.
Yeah.
So, there's
And that
no
was
chance
it,
I'm going to
was
watch
it?
this. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually as interested as Mark is in this. I think it's quite interesting, and I like that kind of exploration of the depths of the New York Crips or whoever they are. Was it East Brooklyn or something like that? But yeah, I'll watch this. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck with that.
Okay, if you've any comments or suggestions for Is It a Bicycle, please email us at podcast@isitabicycle.com or Twitter @isitabicycle. So that's it for this week. So from Mike, Mark, Shaun and Steve, stay classy.